Hey guys, this is Dr. McFarland, and tonight I'm going to show off my new Modular Helix Pedalboard setup. Now, I've purchased the HX Effects probably 4 or 5 years ago when it first came out. And when I first saw this unit, I knew that it was going to be a full-on replacement for my typical pedal-based pedalboard. And what that meant for me was I had a Boss ES8. And this is not the exact picture that I had, but let me share my screen real fast. And this is a live stream, so feel free to, chime in, leave me a comment down below, and we can chat it up. But here's a version of one of my pedal boards. And this all changed throughout the years, but the main centerpiece of that board was the Boss ES8. Now, it's the goal of what I had and the goal of what a lot of people out there have is they want the ability to have tons of different pedals, but also the flexibility of hitting one button and turning on or off any number of pedals, basically to make presets. And then you're able to not tap dance as much, and you can go from a clean sound to maybe a clean but tremolo, and then you can go right into a full-on metal distortion with delay and reverb, and then maybe after that you hit another switch and you have some delay and reverb pedals, and you get this really ethereal ambient kind of sound. And you can see here on the screen that the Eventides definitely allowed me to do that. You can see I had a black hole preset on the Eventide H9, which if you purchase one H9 Max and then you purchased a lesser version, the lesser version also became a Max once you synced them both up. So I basically had the same amount of effects on both these pedals. But after a while, I got to the point where I was really only using one of them for delay and the other one for reverb, and the Line 6 M5 up here in the top left hand corner was mainly just for my any kind of modulation stuff like tremolo. I used it for auto volume echo, which I can only get on any kind of Line 6 product, which is why I always had some kind of Line 6 product on my board. And then I would use it for volume swells by using a Line 6, or actually a Mission Engineering L6, which is their EP1 L6 expression pedal for all Line 6 products. So if you're interested in a really, really nice foot expression pedal that to use with your Helix stuff or whatever else, I highly suggest the Mission Engineering option for that. And there are Sweetwater links down in the description if you want to. I may not have a direct link to that product, but definitely just click through any one of my links and then type in Mission Engineering LP1 L6 or whatever this is. Yeah, EP1 L6. And you'll be able to find it. And anything you purchase through those links, you help to support the channel, because those are affiliate links. And I do get a little bit of commission from each of your purchases. So, and you can see I had a dual fusion from Wampler, which I really like 2-in-1 pedals because they save a lot of space on the board. They use less cables most of the time, and they only use one power supply versus having two separate power supplies for two different pedals. So this is just one iteration of many of my pedal boards. I don't remember if I have access to a folder that has pedal boards on it. Let me search for pedal boards real fast, and then we'll get into the main topic of tonight's stream, and that is pedal board options, pedal demo options, pedal herd, pedal board images backup. No, that's not it. It's pedalboard planner. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of different stuff on here. Now we can see it as icons. This might be one. That's a really old one. Really, really old one. I'm not too fond of that one. Yeah, this will work. So this was another iteration of a pedal board that I had. And let me click on the window, and there you are. Whew, man. So this thing right here, this was the last iteration before I went full on HX effects. So you can see I still had my Boss ES8 right here. And I'm trying to find a good window here. That works. So here's the Boss ES8, just like the last picture. I still had the MS5, not MS5, but the Line 6 M5. And this was modded by JH3 or JHV3, which is a guy on the internet. And he added like a true bypass switch on top and a preset switch and all that. But anyway, instead of having two H9 Maxes, which were pretty expensive, I opted to sell both of those. And then I had my M5 modded, and I ended up getting a second M5. So basically one was for delay and stuff, and the other was for modulation. Here's an Avalanche from Earthquaker Devices, which was a reverb and delay in one pedal. Here's a EHX Canyon, which is a delay pedal. So out of these four pedals right here, I could get, maybe the M5 was used for octa shimmer stuff. This is my my really ambient reverb delay. This is your all around just normal delay, which I think I had a tap tempo plugged into the ES8, and I was able to use one of these switches for tap tempo. And then the other M5 was just for modulation and stuff like that. And I had the Jekyll and Hyde overdrive and distortion, and also the Route 66 was an overdrive and a compressor. So that was kind of cool. And then the Earthquaker Devices Hoof Reaper Octave, which is a great pedal. I kind of wish I still had that, but it's just, I don't use fuzz all that often, and I really like David Campbell, Gritting Tone, Master of Tones. That's right. Just reading the comments there. And then the Pog 2, which I really like that pedal as well. I always bought it and then I would sell it because it was always really just too big for, some of the boards I had. And it is a big pedal. The HOR is a big pedal as well. Now the True Tone pedals are 2-in-1 pedals, which again I really like those. So, and this had a compression and a tube screamery kind of thing. And this had a good overdrive and then distortion in there. So really between these two pedals, I had three different types of overdrive, and then a compressor, and then this gave me my fuzz stuff, all the ambient reverbs, delays, modulations, and all went through the ES8. And this was actually, you see all the jacks in here. I actually never wired this board up. I got all of it pre-planned out, and when it came time to making cables and just finishing it all out, I was like, I don't play in a band anymore, and it's kind of pointless to have this big pedal board and all these extra, power cables and audio cables and stuff. And and there's a tuner right over here as well. So it's a nice setup. It's very clean. But once I saw the XX effects, and I was able to buy that one pedal after I sold the Boss ES8. That's how much these ES8s were going for, versus having every single Line 6 sound with the ability to have presets, with the ability to do snapshots, have spillover between all the different reverb and delay sounds. As long as you're going between snapshots, that doesn't happen for presets. They did change that for the full-on Helix, the Helix pedal board. I think 2 updates ago, they made it to where you can have spillover between presets, which is pretty huge. But yeah, this is the board that almost was, but never quite made it. So that allowed me to get rid of the 2 Line 6 units and just have the HX effects there. And then shortly after I got the HX effects, which replaced this whole board, I saw a demo of the Pete Thorne video for the headrush pedal board. And that sold me on the headrush because it had all the touchscreen stuff, and the sounds were just incredible as well. But without further ado, let's look at the Modular Helix Pedalboard. And the reason why it's modular is this. Let me quit sharing my screen here. The reason why it's modular is I can just use the HX effects. I can just use the stomp if I take it off the board and throw it in a backpack or something. But when I combine them together using one MIDI cable, I'm able to now use the HX effects to call up different presets on these HX stomp. I can also use a foot switch over here to bypass or turn on a switch over here on the stomp. So it's just really, really powerful. And then also the HX effects has 2, let me get my hands in here, 2 effects loops. So essentially the stomp is going into effects loop 2 on the bottom here. The Wampler bell, which I'll explain why I have some Wampler pedals in a minute. The Wampler bell is going into effects loop 1. And then the stomp also has an effects loop on the side here. And that's what the Pantheon is going into. So essentially I can have, let me go to my signal chain here, my signal flow, which is not the greatest. You can kind of see that, but not really. Let me move the camera just a little bit. Let me get dialed in here on the HX effects for a second. Yeah, that's pretty good. So you can see we have 9 slots here on the HX effects. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We only have 8 slots on the HX Stomp. I think it was only 6, and then they bumped it up to 8. So between the 9 here and the 8 here, I have 17 total slots that I can use. And the problem with the HX Stomp is you run out of DSP really fast once you get an amplifier in there and start using some of the high DSP reverbs and delays. So having the HX effects available, it allows me to kind of evenly disperse the DSP across the 2 pedals. And I can have a lot of reverbs and delays on the effects and a lot of reverbs and delays on the stomp. And then I can combine them together, whether that's in preset mode or snapshot mode, if I want to go directly from one sound to the next. And it'll all spill over and it'll all sound cool and all that stuff. So David Campbell is in the house. He says, "Greetings, tone or masters of tone." Thank you very much, David. And Thamris, which is Tham's World, so Thamris. Howdy, how y'all been doing down there, y'all? This is my my southern impression of how Thamris would talk. Been doing good. Been doing good, Thamris. I've been having a lot of late nights with the new baby and just trying to stay awake. So, but we are going to go over the new the signal flow right now. So if we look at the first block, we can use the big knob here to go between the different blocks in the signal flow, which is really, once you get used to what the knobs do, it's pretty quick and easy to switch between. So I have a red squeeze right here, which I think is like the Dynacomp, because that was a red pedal. It only has 2 knobs. But the great thing about the red squeeze is it has a mix knob on there. So I can use the level and the sensitivity to get the amount of compression I want. Then I can dial back in the dry sound to make it sound just a little bit more natural. So I really like that. So right now I have an amplifier, which is the US Prince or Princess, I think, which is basically a Princeton reverb. And then I have a hall reverb at the end of my HX Stomp signal chain. So that's where you hear the reverb coming from. Because I don't have any of the other reverbs. I do have a dynamic plate and a shimmer on the HX effects. Then I have a simple delay, which is just dead simple. Can't go wrong. And then I have a dimension chorus, which I was getting some cool sob rock kind of tones the other day. And then right here we have Effects Loop 2, which is what the Stomp is coming in at. And then we have Effects Loop 1, which is what the Wampler Bell is coming in at. Now I have the Ratsbane and also the Tumnus, but I feel like the Bell does a really good job of giving you a little bit of mid-range push. It's very similar to a Tube Screamer, but it's more tame in the mid-range than a Tube Screamer is. And you can actually control the bass with the bass knob. And then there's a color knob, which is basically your tone, like your overall tone knob, which is really cool. But we'll look at the Wampler Bell here in a little bit. So let me save this and go back to just, pedal mode. If I have my effects loop off right here, you see that? So here's my effects loop 1. If I have that off, I'm just having a nice clean tone. And you might be able to hear the hint of compression that's going on the clean sound. I am on the neck pickup. Let's go to the middle position. I'm playing my old Epiphone Sheraton, which is a semi-hollow body. Okay, and then if I turn on the effects loop 1, here's the Wampler Bell. And then here's the bridge pickup. So back off, here's clean. And here's the bell. And I can't turn the gain up all the way. Okay, but I really like the 12 o'clock position, even maybe 1 o'clock just for a little bit more gain. That's just a good overall overdrive. And it's just distinct enough that you can hear the difference between the clean tone, which is nice and clean. That's a nice Princeton reverb sound there. Then kick in the effects loop. Okay, if I go back to my signal flow, and I go to effects loop 2 and I turn it off. Now I've bypassed the amp that's in the HX Stomp. Turn it back on. That's a great kind of sassy now. Oh, you know it. It is so sassy. All right, so now what I have going on, let me move the camera a little bit. Let's go over to the Stomp view now. So you can kind of see what's going on there. Just a little bit. Yeah, that works. Trying to focus. All right, focus is locked on the phone. So what I have over here in the, this knob right here controls which block you're selected. And there's different views you can go through. You can see what pedals or what effects blocks are assigned to the different pedals. But I just like this view because it's very much like the signal flow view on the HX Effects. So I have nothing in block 1, which I could add something there, but I'm not right now. The first block is the effects loop left, which is on the side over here. And this is feeding a signal to the Pantheon, which is right up here. Okay. So maybe I can get both of those in the signal. You can see that there. So now the focus is locked back. So effects loop, if I turn this on and I have the blues breaker side of the Pantheon switch on, and I have the Pantheon side off right now. If I turn the effects loop on, this is what we get. I can crank the gain on this. Maybe turn the volume down. You should be seeing phone view right now. I'm seeing it. That's exactly what I'm seeing. You shouldn't be seeing me. That's for sure. Because if I go back here, you see there's me. Then here is the phone view. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but so yeah, that's the blues breaker side. Then if I turn off this effects loop, it bypasses the Pantheon pedal as a whole. Now I'm just back to my signal path over on the HX Effects, and I can turn back on my effects loop 1 to bring in the bell. And then I can add back in the effects loop on the stomp to bring in the Pantheon. So I really like pushing the bell in front of higher gain pedals or just dirt sounds because it just adds for a very smooth overdrive overall. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everybody. How I have the Pantheon in the loop of the stomp, and then I have the bell in the effects loop 1 of the HX Effects, but I have the stomp in the effects loop 2 of the HX Effects. So that's how I'm connecting both units, the analog way, and then I have a MIDI cable right here on the side of the stomp that is going to the back of the HX Effects here. And I don't really have MIDI set up right now. I need to look at the user manual for the stomp and just double check and make sure I know the the sequence or the process of setting that up. But I think it's a really, really powerful setup here. And let me get my phone set back up a little bit better. This is horrible. Let me move the mic out of the way for a second. Yeah, and this is live stream, so it's very dirty. Quick and dirty live stream. And, it is what it is. It's not the best. Not the best. I don't know what I did. Let me move this back over. All right, that's close enough. That's close enough for now. So let's go through the rest of the tones here that I have and show you some really cool tricks that you can do with the Line 6 units. So let's go to the signal flow on the HX Effects, and let me focus here. There we go. So after we get done with the effects loops, I have a dimension, chorus, and if we tap on the switch, which this is a capacitance switch, which means all you have to do is just touch it and it selects the edit mode for that switch. And I have switch 2 and switch 4 on, and the mix of the chorus is pretty low. Let's go to a middle position here. Okay, so this is a good overall chorus. That works for me. And then the next one is a simple delay, which I had on switch 4. And then I have dynamic plate and a shimmer. And then very last I have a IR, which I don't have. I think I just have some basic Line 6 IRs that I got off the Helix Native plugin. And right now it's set to like a vintage 30 type speaker. So that's just what you're hearing at the end of the chain of the HX Effects. But let me show you something really cool here. So I have all three of I have the chorus, the dynamic hall or reverb, whatever dynamic it is, and then I have the shimmer all assigned to the foot switch 4 right here. So check this out. If I turn this on, now you hear all three effects because I've assigned them all to that one switch. And then when I just hit the switch, it turns them all on at the same time. Then I hit the switch again and it turns them all off. So let's do it again. And they are all set to where the trails are on. So when I bypass the effect, the delay and reverb keep going, which is, I have to have that. I have to have trails. And companies that don't include trails in their products are dead to me. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. I have to have trails in my reverb and delay, or at least the option to have it. If I don't have an option to keep the delay and reverb going and it just cuts off abruptly, I don't like that sound at all. And I just feel like it's a lot smoother transition if you have the trails on. So Thamra says he's addicted to trails, and I am too. I always had to have some trails on my reverbs and delay pedals. The Avalanche from Earthquaker Devices on my old board that I just showed you it had trails on it, and also the Canyon has trails on it. So, but the thing with the ES8 was you can only have up to 2 parallel paths. So if you had 3 wet effects, but you only had 2 parallel paths, that means one of the 3 is not going to have trails. And that was a little bit limiting to me. So at least with the digital things that we have today of, all the headrest and Helix and Kempers and whatever else, we have the option to have trails on all the effects that we want and not be limited to just 1 or 2 or whatever the hardware deems that we should have available. Okay. So that is assigning 3 switches or 3 effects to 1 switch on the HX Effects. And then the same thing over here on the Stomp. First of all, I have an optical trim on the blue button right here. And Thamra says his it says it makes a beautiful blend. It really does. I like that a lot. So I have a nice tremolo, which I can change to like a bias trim. It's kind of nice. And this one gives me the option to do tremolo or vibrato. There's like different modes that I can just bank over and adjust the overall level. Because some tremolos actually drop in volume when you turn them on. So if you don't want that, you can kind of boost the level maybe 2 or 3 dB. Yeah, so a 3 dB boost actually gave me the same level, but it just adds in the effect. So cool. And a bias tremolo has a little bit of this phasey kind of sound to it. Versus like the optical trim, which is more of a cleaner trim, but it's based off of a light cell that, you know, turns on and off or senses the light sensor. So there's that versus the optical. And I could make that to where it's instead of a speed, it's actually based off of subdivisions. So if I tap in the tempo, it'll play like, you know, it'll tremolo to quarter notes or eighth notes or dotted eighths or triplets or whatever I want. So that's what I have on the blue switch. And then we have octo, a crisscross delay, which is a new delay in the latest 3.15 update, and then a dynamic plate. So if I turn on this middle switch right here, it's going to turn on all 3 of those effects at once, and this is what we get. And then I still have the Wampler bell in there just for a little bit of hair, so it's not so squeaky clean. And then if I turn on the one switch for the chorus, shimmer, and dynamic plate, this is what we get. Man. So what I'm planning on doing here is if I go here and then click on the 2 banks, I can be in snapshot 1, right? And I have to change some of the global settings so it actually stays on the snapshot instead of just blinking and then going back to the preset view. But I'll change all that later, or I might show you how to do that in a separate video, like it's like a short 1 or 2 minute video. But my goal is this. My goal is to be in snapshots. See, there's presets and there's snapshot. Yeah, I need to change that setting because it's a little annoying. But I can have snapshot 1 just be my totally clean. Oh, what's going on? I see what happened. Yeah, it changed my preset here, which is fine. I need to go to 40C, which is my Doc main rig. Okay. Alright, I'll just know not to mess around too much right now. But basically, preset 1 or snapshot 1 within a certain preset would be just my clean, maybe with a little bit of delay. And that's what this would sound like. Okay, snapshot 2 would probably just bring in the Wampler bell. Okay, this is just a good all-around rhythm with a little bit of hair kind of sound on it. And then if I kick in the effects loop on the HX Stomp, that'll give me a nice lead sound. And then if I want to kick in the second channel on the Pantheon, I can. Maybe get rid of the first channel. And there you go. And then maybe the fourth snapshot in the preset would turn on both ambient switches over here. And let me do something right. I know I have an open loop right here. So let's go here and let's actually move these two effects blocks like so. And then I'm going to move down the, let's leave it there. Alright, these reverbs over on the Stomp is coming before all the other stuff over here, which is fine. It'll be fine. But let me show you, I'm going to add in a auto volume echo, which is something from the legacy effects of the Line 6 DL4. Auto volume echo. This is what sold me on that DL4 and why I had it so long on my pedal board. I think I had another picture somewhere showing that DL4 on a board, but it's fine for now. So now with that on, I'm going to assign that to, let me click on that there. I'm going to assign this to foot switch 4 as well. So now, if I turn on, let me just do the effects on here. This is my clean. So now I should have audio volume echo, dimension chorus, the dynamic hall, and the shimmer all at one time. And that's just with one switch. And I can mess with the time on here with the feedback, the depth of the auto volume. Hey, Thamris, you have a good night, okay? Thanks for stopping in. Here's the effects from the stomp. So now let's count them. We have on the stomp here. Yeah, let's do this. On the stomp, we have the octo, crisscross, and dynamic plate. And on the effects, we have auto volume echo, dimension, simple delay, and dynamic plate, and also shimmer. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 8 different ambient effects all at one time. And that's something I couldn't do on the HX Stomp alone. And I definitely couldn't do it on the HX Effects alone because this only has 9 blocks. So with both of them combined together, I have the ability to have a lot more blocks on at one time. Especially if I'm just going for a certain ambient type sound. I just want to layer different things together. And then let me make sure the trails are on for the auto volume. So that way it just keeps going a little bit. So let's do it again. And then turn off the button. And it all just keeps going out. Turn on effects loop 1 for the Wampler bell. Now let's compare the bell to the right side, which is the blues breaker circuit on the Pantheon. So here's the bell. Turn the delay off. Then here's the Pantheon. It's definitely scooped a little bit more. There's soft clipping. Then here's soft and hard clipping on the Pantheon. Then here's just hard clipping. Back to bell. So the Pantheon is still just a little scooped. Then the bell, like I said, very much like a tube screamer, boosts the mid-range, but in a totally different frequency sweep than what a tube screamer would provide you. So then there's a switch on the side of the bell that gives you 2 different clipping sounds. So here's the out, and here's the in. I think in is just a little bit more aggressive. Let's check the tuning on this thing. We have it on strobe tuner. And these old Epiphones aren't really, Epiphone and Gibson aren't the greatest at staying in tune, especially when it comes to the G and the B strings. I might get a Butler string thing for the Epiphone. I might as well. It's only like $50, and I hear they work really well in helping with tuning stability. So, all right. So we got one person watching here. Who are you? Let me know who you are. But really, other than tidying up the bottom of the board, which that could be a short little video as well, maybe like an Instagram thing or something. Other than that, and figuring out some of the MIDI stuff, this is basically how I'm going to use this. There are tons and tons of amps on the Helix, family of brands just in general. The HX Effects does not have any amps. That's why I'm adding in the Stomp to add in the amp option, and also just have more effects blocks to mess with and put in the signal chain. It also allows me to have an effects loop on the side to add in either the Pantheon, or I can unplug the Pantheon and demo any other pedal I want into this loop right here. So I think it's pretty convenient to have that there. That's really about it. I could easily go in and choose any other amp that I want, but I'm going to leave it on the US Prince or Princess because I think it's just a good overall clean tone. I could use it for jazz. Put it on the neck pickup here. So yeah, great for jazz. I can do a little chicken picking country stuff. Between the Pantheon and the HX Effects and the bell, wow, I mean, I can really just get any kind of overdrive sound that I want. And it's basically simple. I don't have to worry about all the different overdrive and distortion options that are available in the Line 6 products, because I just have two basic pedals right here, and any combination of the channel 1 and channel 2 of the Pantheon and the bell can give me all kinds of dirt options there. So kick in the Pantheon side of the Wampler. See, I'm already out of tune. And it's the G string. As always. I hate to be caught with the loose G string. Especially on a beach. It's embarrassing. It's a joke, folks. All right. Kick in the bell. Okay, I mean that's pretty basic stuff there. If I need any more gain than that, then I'm doing something wrong, probably. Let's kick in the blues breaker side, so we have all three gain stages going on. Okay. There are voicing switches for the Pantheon, both sides, but there's also 3 different gain settings here. And I have the gain on both sides all the way down. So that means, or the switch is on the bottom or the first position of the switch. So I can create the gain on these knobs, and it's still pretty low volume, or, you know, fairly. It's a good gain sound, but it's not like over the top. Right? If I turn the blues breaker on and put it to the middle position, listen to the hiss that comes in when I turn it to the middle position here. Right? So it's even more gain. And then just even more gain. So let's keep the gain where it is, and you can hear. Here's the first position gain setting. And then the second. I'm doing it right. So the bottom end got more full, more drive, got into the circuit. And here's the top amount of gain. And I'm going to have to turn down the gain knob at that point. It's just, to me, it's just a little bit too much gain. And the same goes for the Pantheon side. Anything above like 2 o'clock is really too much, especially when you start stacking the two together. Any more than that, you're just going to get a lot of hiss, a lot of spit, and the clarity is not going to be there. So I can change the order of these just by hitting the switch right here. In the bell, I have the Pantheon going into the blues breaker right now. And then I kick in the bell. So the bell definitely fattened it up, especially for lead line stuff. Kick in the delay. Cool. So there you go, guys. It has been almost an hour, and we're just going through the Modular Helix setup, which consists of the Line 6 HXFX, the HX Stomp, then the bell is in loop 1 of the effects, and then the Pantheon is in the loop of the HX Stomp, and then I can turn those on and off from here, which is very, very, very convenient. So eventually I might take this switch and make it switchable over here, but I think it's fine just having the switches, the 7 switches going across, and then I can still change presets if I want to, change different snapshots, bank up and down, all the normal stuff. So I can stick around for a little bit and answer any questions y'all may have. So there's only one person right now in the chat. But if you want to ask a question, just leave a comment over there in the chat box, and we can talk a little bit if you want. I did go to the AES event that started today. We'll go again tomorrow and also on Saturday. And the AES event is here in Nashville over at Soundcheck, where you have all the big stars and bands go to practice and prepare for maybe a full-blown concert. Maybe you're doing like a weekend warrior thing. You just need a nice big stage with all the gear and stuff to make sure your lighting and your sound is right and all that. So yeah, if you're in the Nashville area and you have a badge for AES, please come by the Harrison Consoles booth, which you'll see it right when you walk in. We have a nice big 65-inch TV screen showing Harrison Mixbus 32C. And we also have a smaller screen just showing you like a small slideshow of some different products that we have released over the years. So let's see what else we can do. Let me find my pedalboard pictures here. Let's see. Then after this, we can call it a night. How about that? Pedalboard. Let's see here. Pedalboard backup. I did a short series called Pedalboard Planner Setups, which is you can go to a website that's owned by Pedal Train Pedalboards, and it allows you to set up different pedal options on your board. You can see how it is. What's up, B Stoner? How's it going? Right now I'm looking for some old pedalboard setups that I've had over the years. For instance, this is an old one that was based off a Line 6 M13. You can see right here. So this one was pretty simple. It just had the M13. It had a Voodoo Labs Pedal Power Plus powering the tuner and the Pigtronics Philosopher's Tone, which is like it's basically a compressor pedal, but it does have a drive knob, like a fuzz sound in there. Then this is a wall pedal that my friend Foster Farrell modded for me. So it was basically a momentary switch. So when I put my foot on, the effect turned on, and when I took my foot off, it turned back off, and it was great. I really like that. Things are going well in Tennessee. It rained cats and dogs today, but other than that, it was fine. Other than that, it was fine. See what other options I have here. Here's a collection of pedals I had at one time. Just kind of going through different pedalboard setups I had over the years. Here's the green DL4 that I was telling you about not too long ago. Let me switch my camera here. This is a Electro-Harmonix Cathedral reverb pedal that has some presets in it, very much like the POG 2, where you can store different presets. But this does not have MIDI, and you had to manually hit the switch to go between the different presets, and it's not really. It kind of got you there, but not quite. We had a Boss Tremolo, Phase 90, which is great. The Electric Mistress, which is a great pedal. Man, that's so good. What's cool about this Pantheon is if I go in one side and out the other, that leaves essentially another effects loop in between, to where I can put in like a modulation effect of some sort and have that be in the circuit of the Pantheon, which is wow, which is really killer. This is a custom boost pedal or a fuzz pedal that some guy I met off of from Guitar Center made for me. This pedal didn't last very long though. I don't think I liked it all that much, so that was kind of a waste. This is another pedal he made called Dr. Boost, just like a one knob boost, like a MOSFET circuit. And here's a very, very early Visual Sound garage tone pedal. Very, very similar to the Bell, actually, in knobs, because you had the gain of volume, but you also had bass and treble. So you can dial in the sound really well for that one. B Stoner says, I ran the Digitech RP350 for like 10 years. I've gotten a few pedals in the Headrush MX5 over the past couple of years, EHX and GHS mostly. Yeah, man. I mean, Digitech makes some good stuff, for sure. For sure. Do you like the Pantheon? I've been eyeing that up. I bought the Pantheon on a whim when it first came out, so I went on Reverb and found one pretty much brand new. I didn't have any discounts or anything, so I probably paid a little too much than I should have. But this Pantheon is great, and from what I've been seeing online and in other videos, it is not the king of tone, but it's like they're calling it the queen of tone, because you basically have two blues breaker circuits. One is closer to the original blues breaker. Then channel 2 is the souped up version, which is what the Pantheon was based on, was a blues breaker, but they just had a lot more gain, a lot more juice on tap. So yeah, the Pantheon stacks really well together, and then when you add in the Bell, which is a very smooth mid-range style overdrive pedal, you just get all kinds of searing lead tones and great stuff here. So here's the right side of channel 1 with the Bell. And then here's the Pantheon side and with the Bell. Turn on the pedal. Let's go back to channel 1, make sure that the loop was on there. Man. So really, with those combinations of dirt, I am fine leaving the US Princess or any kind of clean amp just set and forget on the stomp, then use the pedals for all my dirt. And that is I'm really liking this combination of pedals for that purpose. Now, that's not to say that the overdrives that are in the Line 6 products aren't good. They are, like the tube driver, the compulsive overdrive, which is basically your OCD full tone. I mean, there's a lot of good ones in there. You can try out the Timmy or the T-Maw, which is the Tom Cochran Timmy pedal. And yeah, I mean, those sound good too, but there's just something about actual pedals and not a digital emulation or recreation that I think gives you a slightly smoother sound. A lot of people would probably disagree with that, and they're like, oh, it's close enough. But I do like having the knobs, the physical knobs on the Pantheon and the Bell. It's just very easy in a recording studio setup to have the guy who's maybe not so digitally minded be able to just reach down and grab knobs. Here's another pedal board here for you. That was fairly short-lived, but it still worked. This is my transition from the M13 into more of like the Boss ES8 style setup. So this is the Full Tone GT500, which I had twice. I bought it once, I sold it, I bought it again, and then I sold it. Don't know why. It's just a good overall pedal, really. And I would think it's very, very similar probably to the Pantheon. I probably should have just kept that pedal and been done with it, but I didn't. I just didn't do it. The Midnight 30 Drive, that's a guy from New York that builds his own pedals, and he makes some good stuff. The Hoof Reaper Octave, which you saw on the other pedal board, that's 2 different kinds of fuzzes, and then an octave in the middle, and then the Pog 2 right there. So I think I just had all these going into the front end of the M13, and the M13 was used for, you know, all your delays, modulations, reverbs. Here's the L6 Expression, which is the same one I got right here. I've had this pedal for a very long time. It's seen a lot of different pedal boards. And then here's the customized Dunlop wah with the momentary switch on top. B Stoner says, I agree with you, physical knobs and analog drive is my preference. Yep. And I like the overdrive sounds I get out of the headrush stuff. I mean, I really do. But if I'm gonna have a somewhat modular setup, I think having the Line 6 with some analog drive options are great. I think it's a really good way to go. What is this one? This is a... Yeah, I'm not going to show you that one. That's not a big deal. I don't need anything like that. These are just different pictures of the same setup from earlier. Let me show you this one right here. This is slightly different. So this one had the Line 6 M9. So far you've seen me, I've had the M5s, 2 different M5s. Here's the M9, and then you've seen the M13 in the other pictures. So I had all 3 of the M series pedals. And like I said before, since I had the DL4, I had to have some kind of Line 6 product at my disposal just so I could access the auto volume echo and the octave and shimmer stuff. And the M9 is really good. This is a really nice staple for a lot of studio guys because you can get access to your typical delays, throw in some shimmer when you want to, any kind of reverb sounds you need. Here's a Carl Martin optical compressor, which is really cool. And I feel like instead of this red squeeze right here, I can go to... See, there's an Ampeg Optocomp. Let's see what this one does. I always like to make the mix at least 50%, so I get 50 dry, 50 wet. Adjust the level after the fact. So it's very, very similar to what the Carl Martin Opto compressor did. Then you got the same garage tone from Visual Sound. Here's a Plexi tone, which is a really cool pedal. And here's a Proctavia, which is a fuzz octave kind of thing. And then here's the Visual Sound volume pedal. And it was all being powered through a Voodoo Lab Pedal Power Plus, which eventually I did move on to the True Tone CS12 and CS6, which is currently what is powering this whole board right here, is a CS6. All right, let me do one more pedal board setup, and then we'll call it a night. I do appreciate everyone for sticking around. Beast Owner asks, what do you do with the Pog? So let me show you this one last screen here, and you'll see the Pog on this board. So the Pog is a poly octave generator, and it has multiple octaves that you can either have up or down, and you just adjust the volume with the sliders. So you basically have 2 octaves up, an octave up, 1 octave down, and then 2 octaves down. And you have 4 sliders there that's controlling each of those. And then you can add in like a chorusy kind of thing, and you can adjust the attack time of that. So after you play the chord, it'll kind of fade in with the octave stuff, which is really, really nice when you're doing a lot of ambient. If you have reverb and delay after the Pog 2, you just have this really nice ambient sound. And then the Pog 2 allowed you to have just this shimmery kind of chorusy octave thing going on. That just helped add to the overall ambience. So that's what the Pog does. And there's the micro Pog, and this is the Pog 2. The micro Pog just gives you an octave up and octave down, but it doesn't give you the extra chorusy, attack swell options that the Pog 2 does. And this one does have the ability to store, I think, 8 different presets as well. I would definitely buy that pedal again, because none of the digital stuff that I have has faithfully recreated the Pog 2 sound. And that's kind of what you get when you buy digital. If it doesn't have exactly what you want, you just have to wait till they add it in an update. And maybe they never add it in an update, or maybe they try it and just get it totally wrong and it sounds horrible. That's the downfall of digital. Is yes, it's very convenient, but you may not have all the exact sounds that you like from your physical pedal counterparts, if that makes sense. Now, the latest update of the Headrush did add a super overdrive, which is the SD1, so that's kind of cool. They've had a big muff sound, which is called the Tri-Fuzz, since version 1, since Headrush first came out. That was the first fuzz pedal they had in there, was the Tri-Fuzz, which is based off of the EHX Big Muff. And the tone is opposite of what you would expect. So all the way to the left is bright, and all the way to the right is dark. Why they did that, I have no idea. But that's just how it is. This FF pedals right here, this is a custom foot switch pedal that my friend Foster Farrell made. The same guy who did the momentary switch on the on the wall pedal. And this just allowed me to have the Pog, the full tone, the Big Muff, and the Super Drive in the loops of this. And I could access these 4 switches a lot easier than I could stepping over the back row trying to access these 4 pedals. So that basically allowed me to have everything right here at the front. So I have my Dr. Boost, which is my boost pedal, which came after all this. And then it's basically guitar into compressor, compressor into tuner, then tuner went all the way into the input of the 4-way switcher. And then out of the switcher went to the Dr. Boost, and then out of the Dr. Boost went to the M5, and then went to the flashback delay, and then it ended with the Flint from Strymon, which is a reverb and tremolo pedal all in one. And then this little thing right here was the tap tempo for the Flint, which is also made by Foster Farrell. He's one of my old students. I don't think he does pedals as much anymore, but I think if you called him up, he might be able to do something for you. And this is the M5 before it was modded by JVH or JHV3, that guy I found online. And then this FF right here was I think this was the channel switcher actually for my orange TH30 head. So I ran all this into an orange TH30. This was the channel switcher for that. So most of the time I would have it on clean, but if I wanted to use the dirty channel, then I would just use that switch right there to kick it in. So yeah, that's a fairly big pedal board, and it doesn't really have a lot of options on there. I mean, it has all your basics, but the digital, what I'm able to do with digital is way more convenient than having this big board and having all the cables and power supplies and whatever else. So, and plus with this board, I didn't have the option of actually creating presets. I just had to do everything, a little bit of tap dancing, and that's just how it was. So you can see in my room right here, it's still messy. My drum set is kind of taking up a lot of space, and therefore I couldn't get my faux brick wall right behind me to kind of hide the type of room that I'm in. But yes, I'm just currently temporarily in a bonus room within the house. But hopefully here in the next week, or probably 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be able to go full time in my new studio setup, which is in the detached garage. And if you haven't seen my studio update series, it's just called New Studio Build 2022. I have a full playlist on my channel where you can go see the progression of how we added the electrical and the audio cables in the walls. We had a company come out and put in all the insulation. And then me and my contractor, we've been working on the drywall the last however long, 2 or 3 weeks. Seemed like 2 or 3 weeks. We had to take a week off because, one, I had a baby, and then two, he had some family things that he had to take care of. So we just took that week off. And then this week, he is actually working on some doors for the attic space and getting all the trim bought and pre-painted and all that stuff. So next for the studio will be, I already have one coat of primer. So I'm pretty sure I've picked out my paint that I'm going to paint the walls, and we're going to be adding the trim. We're going to be putting in the flooring and putting in the doorways and all that stuff. The new door, sliding glass door, the main solid core door for the studio. And then after that, I'll be able to order acoustic panels to put on the ceiling and the walls and have a cloud over the desk. And then I'll be able to attach all the audio cable to the wall plates. That's going to connect to my headphones, my USB ports for my Roland kit, and any kind of MIDI keyboard kind of thing, and all my XLR jacks for hooking up head rushes and microphones and whatever other kind of connections that I need. For the new studio, I will be using a little bit of my Focusrite 18i8, which I'm currently using to live stream right now. And then I'll also use my RME UFX interface, which has up to 16 channels of ADAT, which I do have that full capability because I have 2 rack units that have 8 mic pre's each. Then it has 12 signals built into the UFX with this for inputs, and then the outputs are 8 line outs. So I have plenty of outputs for headphone mixes and whatever I'm going to be doing in that space. So definitely be tuning in, and be sure you subscribe to the channel, and so you can check out the updates for the new studio, and you can watch any future videos that I have here, whether I'm live streaming or creating pre-made videos. And do not forget to check the description down below. There are affiliate links to Amazon and Sweetwater. So if you were going to buy something from there anyways, and you want to help support your favorite YouTuber, then go to my channel, click in the affiliate links in the description before you make your final purchase. And then everything you buy after that click just for a short period of time. Everything you buy after that click will go, the commission will go toward me, which is no extra cost to you. So if you ever wondered how to support your favorite YouTuber, whether it's me or anybody else that you watch here on YouTube, and you were going to go ahead and buy something anyways, whether that's toilet paper or a new guitar or a new amp or a new pedal or something for your recording studio, maybe your microphone or headphones, just anything, always be sure to click on someone's affiliate link first before you buy something, because it doesn't take any extra energy from you just to click through a link before you purchase something, and that just goes help to support your favorite YouTube person here on the platform. So I do have Sonic DNA Dr. McFarland IR pack that I use. I do need to load those IRs into my HX effects so I can start utilizing those, because I do like the sound of those. And that also helps us support Greg Barth, who's the head owner and CEO of Sonic DNA. And he's a great guy and really helpful on the Facebook groups and really knowledgeable. He's a tone scientist for sure. So that is about all I have tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far into the stream, and even if you've watching this after the fact and you've made it this far, an hour and 23 minutes in, be sure and go to my website. There is a messaging function on there. Send me a direct message and I will send you a coupon for a nice percentage off of anything on my website as far as products. You can buy courses that talk about music theory, recording, music production type stuff. All my Headrush stuff is available. And I got backing tracks as well. I'm going to be cranking out even more backing tracks once I get into my new room. I just have a nice space to relax and just play and make sure I create a lot of content. So if you want anything from my website at a really nice price and a good discount, be sure to go ahead and message me and I'll send you a coupon for anything that you want on my site. So thank you so much for watching. I am Dr. McFarland. Let me make sure my outro is going to play correctly. And it is. So I'm Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.